I got stuff for you.
Holy moly. I need to get some snakes and release them around my house.
But they love eating people. They love eating kids.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
Every day that you open your mouth,
I know, right?
I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
No.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
These are idiots.
I was laughing reading this because I already knew how you would feel.
Idiot. What part of the story fits your balloon?
Well,
This isn't a UFO. But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Well, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
Well, everyone, I think we know exactly what it is. So say it all with me. It was the sandhill crane.
Would you try it?
No.
You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Why?
Because they're probably toxic. There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree. Welcome back to Cryptids Podcast. I am a great and powerful mystery.
And I'm Jay Clone, Season 7, Clone number 78.
Oh,
Oh, you sound disappointed.
I am disappointed.
Why?
I thought it was going to be like a fun number.
78's pretty fun.
I mean, it's pretty fun.
Because if you
Said
take
nobody
7
ever.
plus 8 equals 15. And 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. And 6 minus 2 is 4. And 4 is Brett Favre's number. And Brett Favre can throw a football really far. He's pretty cool. All right. Welcome back, Cryptids of the Corn. See how that little train goes? That train of thought?
It was interesting.
Sometimes you just got to know how to, you know the end point. It's just navigating the way to get there.
Just love, like, yeah.
I just
That's
wanted
great.
to see the blank look on your face. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, Cryptids of the Corn. Live show coming up soon.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. Make sure you guys get tickets for it.
Yeah, our live show in April 5th with Matthew Orton.
In North Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
At Old Bart's. They
Like-
just remodeled.
I seen that.
Yeah, we just found that out, well, as of today of recording. They just remodeled. Live show April 5th. Get your tickets at cryptsofthecorn.com. And then we also have another live show in June 15th at Norita Lanes at Ada, Ohio, our hometown, with famous author Michael Thompson. UFOs and sea creatures, sea monsters. Yes, and Ada, our hometown. Tickets also available at cryptsofthecorn.com.
Good. You did good. You
Good.
did good. Losing my voice. So I picked an easy one. This one may be a little shorter. An interesting one. And it looks like we're having 2 Bigfoot weeks back to back.
Oh, no way.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time, but Bigfoot's been on my mind, honey child.
Huh? What song are you singing?
I don't know.
Oh, it's been such a long time.
So I was on a episode of Midwest Skywatchers a couple weeks back, and they brought up something I'd never heard of before: the Bigfoot War of 1855.
No, I've not heard this either.
I haven't either. There was a war with Bigfoot. They had assault rifles and everything.
Bigfoot did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come on. Let's get for real. Bigfoot don't use assault rifles.
How do you know? I've seen it on a shirt.
I've seen that shirt too, but
Well, David Hardy has a
Tactical Bigfoot.
tack squatch.
right. If,
But it,
if
also,
Brandon
I
was a
think
Bigfoot.
there's a coffee company that has that too.
Yeah, tactical, what? No, I don't.
It's Black Rifle Coffee
Oh,
as a Sasquatch one.
they do?
Yes.
Oh,
I think it's Black Rifle. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never had it.
A listener sent it to us one time. We have had the one with the Sasquatch.
Oh,
on
we
it.
did? We've been doing this too long. I don't remember.
That was a long time ago. That was like the first thing that ever came in the P.O. box. Speaking of which, if you want to send us anything in the P.O. box, it's P.O. Box 75, Ada, Ohio, 45810. Send us art or coffee or whatever you want.
Or a nice letter.
I love the letters, or kids' drawings are always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Back to Bigfoot.
A very bizarre encounter happened in 1855 in the region of present U.S. states known as Oklahoma and Arkansas. It was literally the exact same area we were talking about last week.
It's kind of very close to our live show.
Yeah, I mean, within hours.
Yeah.
The other side of this, we're on the other side of Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
This is like the Texarkana area again.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we were just there.
Yeah, that's why I did them back to back, because it was very fitting. Once the mighty Choctaw Nation of the Native Americans ruled over this area. In the years, there was an apparent skirmish between an unseen bandit venturing from the wilderness to steal vegetables and even livestock.
Okay.
This might have been the end of it if it was not for the claims that the trespasser was said to have soon generated to kidnapping people, mostly children, which provoked a fearsome reaction from the local tribe. So it all started in 1855. The center of Choctaw Nation. Some bandit was stealing livestock and vegetables. And the Choctaw were kind of like, yeah, it happens, right? Just a part of life. Until they started stealing kids, and then
it was one step too far.
Things started getting lively.
Food's one thing.
A search party was allegedly formed, composed of a group of uncommonly large cavalry warriors called the Light Horsemen. The largest of whom was said to have towering the Humus Tubi and his 6 sons. So that's his name, Humus Tubi.
Okay.
His 6 sons, which were widely reported of standing around 7 feet or more in height.
This is the
Choctaw Nation.
Wow.
So this special group was called the Light Horsemen. Most of them was this guy and his son. So yeah, him and his 6 sons were like 7 feet tall.
That's insane.
I mean, these real giants, among a contingent of 30 other very large and fierce horseback rider warriors, headed out to led by a part French, part Choctaw general named Joseph Lafleur.
Or Lafleur?
Lafleur,
yeah.
Either one.
It's French.
But he's also part Choctaw.
Oh. Half Cherokee and Choctaw?
No, half French and half Choctaw.
Oh. My baby, she's a Chippewa?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know how close the Choctaw and the Chippewa nations were.
I don't know, but that song's probably all messed up.
So the general let out. Their mission was to find the culprits and put an end to this reign of terror.
Okay.
So you got 7 giants, with 30 normal Choctaw horseback riders, and this general, part French, part Choctaw, went out to hunt the guy or guys that have stolen vegetables, livestock, and kids.
I mean, we've heard stories of natives too some of them being extremely tall.
Yeah, some of the Native American groups are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, this is right near. Well, you already mentioned it. The Toltec Mounds in Arkansas, which those people said live there were also massive.
Okay. Well, then, and the people. I mean, this is pretty far away. But
Lovelock.
Well, you got Lovelock, and then you go south to the Patagonia in South America.
Way
south, but still on this side of the hemisphere, or not hemisphere, but this side of the world, Americas. Yeah, it's just people over here. I'm just saying there's people over here.
It's like, I'm going to guess like 5,000 miles away.
I understand that, but I still think people were here.
Patagonia is on the very tip of South America.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay, just saying. What
I'm saying is there was giants.
There was a lot of giants in North America.
On this side of the pond, there was giants stretching from Canada down to South America. Okay.
Okay. Don't gotta be mean to me.
Well,
as they headed out to the wilderness in the early morning hours, the tribe capital in Tuscaloosa. That's where they were from. Fully armed with high-powered rifles, pistols, and a thirst for vengeance. These menacing, proud warriors had no doubt a thought that they would be a simple matter of routing out some ragtag group of bandits. Yet, what would happen would be quite bizarre. So they're pretty sure that they're just going to go murder a guy or two that's screwing with them.
Right.
I mean, how would you say if there's 7 massively tall guys plus 30 other horseback riders coming to hunt you down?
Right, yeah, you're pretty much good as dead.
Yeah. The group of warriors penetrated deep into the region known as McCurtain County Wilderness Area of present-day Oklahoma And after about 8 hours of riding nonstop through the blazing June heat, they stopped to spot near the Clover River to rest and eat before remounting and continuing on the last leg of their journey. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It was after nearly 14 hours of almost nonstop riding, the men reached the area where the bandits were said to be most active. So keep in mind, the Choctaw Nation is huge.
Okay.
So these guys have been going around the whole nation of the Choctaw and messing with them.
Okay.
So they were going right to where the heart of the problem seems to be. And it was there that LaFleur suddenly gave the order to halt, as if he had seen something or something had caught his attention. Using a crude telescope, LaFleur peered into the distance, and the men rumbled amongst themselves, and the horses huffed and chuffed. The general claimed that he could see something moving about ahead, and voiced his confidence that it was the enemy before putting his telescope aside and giving the warriors the order to charge. If they see something ahead, that's whatever we're here to fight, that's it.
That's the thing, yeah.
The massive, bloodthirsty warriors must have been quite a sight as they howled and rushed as their horses through the trees in a mad dash into battle, weapons drawn and ready to fight. Yet their powerful drive forward was soon brought to a halt by the unbearable stench of decay and death. It hit them like a wall, and their steeds began to inexplicably buck and rear up, just going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Profound panic, knocking most of the men off on the mossy ground, withering the hackles and coughing. Such an intense surprise to the olfactory assault. So yeah, they hit this wall of smell. The horses stopped.
Yeah.
Kicked all these guys off. Most of the horses were trying to run away. The ones that were holding the horses still. Horses and the men started coughing and like gagging.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's infrasound scaring the horses, and then the smell. I don't know.
I mean, it could be a mix of infrasound and smell.
Yeah.
It could be a bunch of human corpses, and not the typical Bigfoot smell.
That's true. Because they say that's like the worst smell in the world.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
A rotting human or dead human body. I mean, rotting is probably the better word, but decaying.
I've been around dead humans.
Yeah.
Rotting humans, I have not. I've been around rotting big mammals,
and
every fiber of your body says get away.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I've been around big dead deer and stuff. There's the ones like dead floating in the creek. It smells awful.
Cows, pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to think of I've been around like rotting cows, and it's just everything in your body just tells you to not be there.
Yeah.
All right, now I got to find where I was. So some of the warriors, including Tubi and LaFleur himself, were allegedly able to control their animals and advance past the nauseating wave of rot and rush towards the bandits. And as they exploded out into the forest clearing, the source of this stagnant stench was clear. At the center of the clearing, they found what they described as some sort of earthen mound that had embodied within it a strew of numerous corpses.
Okay, you're right.
Varying levels of decomposition, drawing a fog of flies so thick that it startled the warriors.
Oh my gosh.
So there's this giant mound just shoved full of human corpses of varying stages of decay. Some were like within hours.
Yeah.
And some were months old.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's horrible.
So many flies, it was like a curtain.
Well, fog, they said.
Yeah. I mean, I've been, like I said, around some dead animals and seen like flies. Not maybe that thick, but
that was like the flies when I told you that my basement was infested.
And you had a curse. Yeah.
That's weird.
I mean, what are those flies eating?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
I don't even know how they got down there.
Okay. Of human bandits, there were no sign. But looming nearby were 3 enormous monsters. These ape-like creatures covered with hair, so tall they dwarfed Tubi and his kids himself. So the 7-foot-tall Native American warrior, these 3 ape monsters
made him look small,
tiny. These beast men reportedly stood there glaring in their direction, completely unafraid of the native warriors.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
I mean, keep in mind,
you're that big. I mean,
well, there's 30 horseback men and 7 giants.
True.
In this Native American regiment. And these 3 Bigfoot-like monsters are just sitting there just staring back, like challenging them back.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's already not typical. I mean, all the murder and death isn't typical Bigfoot behavior.
Yeah, the mound of corpses isn't.
It's a dirt mound with corpses inside,
Oh,
like a cave.
I know what that is.
Okay.
I figured we'd wait.
Okay.
Unless you want me to spoil it, because you get mad when I spoil it.
I don't have like I said, I've been very sick and tired. I don't really have.
It's a fairy mound.
Hmm.
The fairy mound they stuff full.
Hmm.
Did I do it?
No.
Did I ruin your thing?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
It's a very dirty fairy mound hole. Now that I'm thinking about it, like
I don't know. You're making that face.
no, it's just gross.
Yeah, it is gross.
So what supposedly happened next was as dramatic and over the top as any action movie. LaFleur had said that they had charged these strange beasts without hesitation, pistol and saber in hand, howling the whole time. One of the creatures stepped forward and lashed out its massive hand to swat the general's horse on the side of its head with a thunderous blow that sent it spearing to the ground, dead instantly.
Gosh, just knocked the horse out.
He backhanded the horse and it died, and its
Yeah.
head pretty much exploded. LaFleur was ejected to the ground and was soon on his feet with his pistol blazing, managing to hit the wild man several times, but barely slowing it down at all, as if it did nothing to the creature.
Like a guy that's on some controlled substance.
So bath salts.
There you go.
Even after sustaining several gunshot wounds at point-blank range that appeared to be bleeding badly, they seemed to have not felt it at all, and even lunged forward to grab the man by the head and rip it clean off.
Holy crap. Yeah, we're not dealing with anything good here.
All of this had happened before the others had even had time to react. So LaFleur's got his head just mushed.
That was LaFleur?
I'm pretty sure that was LaFleur.
Gosh.
Just had his head ripped clean off, horse slapped backhanded and dead.
Backhanded to death, yeah, in one
Yeah.
shot.
This one Bigfoot has already been shot like point blank pretty much all like 6 times, and then yeah, not reacting. So like I said, this all happened before everybody else had time to react, nor indeed even process the situation at all that they had witnessed in wide-eyed stupor. Upon seeing their general slumped to the ground without a head as a vicious ape creature loomed over his carcass, they proceeded to produce their rifles and launch a volley of bullets at these monsters, which managed to drop one of them.
That's okay, go on.
Keep in mind, it's 36 guys are left.
Okay.
So that's a lot of rifles just...
Firing at these things, yeah. But but this is also probably not like how long ago again?
1855.
So the rifles ain't like...
I think there was repeating rifles at this time.
Was there?
I don't know. Look it up.
I don't know either.
Look up the first repeating rifle. Cartridge rifle.
Okay.
Even if it wasn't, I guess look up first cartridge rifle. Because that would have, as long as it wasn't a black powder, like packing it in.
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the muskets.
So I think they had cartridge rifles for the Civil War, right?
I feel really dumb right now. No, 1860 was the first introduced.
Cartridge?
That's what this is saying, and not saying it's right, but
With the Google AI overview.
yeah, that was the first thing that pops up. What was the first? 1846 was patented in Paris. Was the first fully metallic pinfire cartridge containing powder in a metallic cartridge.
This is a decade later, so they may have been around.
Yeah, they might have been. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So yeah,
Either
Guys,
way, it's not repeating fast.
giant ape starts shooting. The grievously injured creature purportedly limped off into a bid to escape, but was set upon by one of Tubi's sons, who pounced on it and apparently cut its head off with a hunting knife.
Holy crap. Okay.
So, Tubi's kid which was a giant,
You're right. 7-footer.
is sitting on his back of it. This ape that's trying to get away, sitting on his back, grabbed him by the head and just starts sawing at his head with his hunting knife.
And he got it too.
Yeah. In the aftermath, it was just a few of the Native American warriors posed and ready for the next attack, but it never came. The smell of gun smoke and the fetid stench of death, faces and urine lingered all around them. Feces and urine lingered all around them.
Mm-hmm.
In the background, Tubi's son crouched over the hulking beast with his blood-soaked knife in his hands. The Native Americans then went to the grim work of burying all the dead bodies that they had found in the mound. They were giving them a proper burial.
Right. Yeah.
finding the bodies of at least 19 children,
Oh.
among several adults, and the body of a hulking beast were buried on a bonfire.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So, without a doubt, a harrowing, terrifying tale filled with mysteries, monsters, and the sheer otherworldly bizarreness. The tale was passed around on the internet for quite a time. It was seemed too good to be true, and maybe because perhaps it was. The tales do indeed incorporate very historical figures like LaFleur, and seem to have who had indeed been a real person who did die in 1855. And the Tubies are apparently real as well, but it means little for a larger picture, as any historical figure can be inserted into any story that anybody wants to create. Not helping the matter, while the story was made its rounds on the internet, the best source that anybody can truly find is in a book titled The True Bigfoot Horror, The Apex Predator, Monsters in the Woods, Cryptozoology, Terrifying, Violent, and True Encounters with Sasquatch, Hunting People, Cryptozoology, Sasquatch, Paranormal, Volume 1. That's a title.
That's a long title.
30 words.
That's one book?
Yeah. So by Jeremy Kelly, which seemed to be a collection of unconfirmed Bigfoot anecdotes, newspaper clippings, and other stories from history.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, you know, like, not saying anything about Jeremy Kelly, just it's a collection of, you know, passed down stories about scary Bigfoot encounters.
Right.
And
Right.
so this was in there.
Okay.
As well as reviews that are, well, shall we say, are not kind on the book, are found all over the internet.
So are people suggesting that maybe these stories aren't entirely true?
There's a lot of people suggesting, and I don't know, I don't have this book and I don't know this author.
Okay.
So I'm not saying anything about the validity of either side.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people accusing him of maybe not due diligence at the very least.
And just taking the story at face value.
And then there's a lot of people more accusatory towards a bunch of make-em-ups.
Oh, like he's just making up the
Yes.
stories. Okay. Okay.
But like I said, so that's where we'll go to the ad break here in a minute, and then we'll kind of go back through the story and talk about some of the aspects of it. It's a weird one, and this is one, like I said, thank you, Midwest Skywatchers, for kind of sending this my way, because I found it very fascinating. We'll talk about validity and some important parts of the case. But the names are real. Him and his sons were reported to be giants, as in modern word of giants.
Yeah, I mean, 7 foot tall is a giant.
I don't know if they were actually 7 foot tall.
Okay.
That may be one of those embellishments.
Okay.
But Tubi and his kids were massive.
Okay.
So more maybe like our buddy TJ,
Yeah.
where they were still humongous people,
Mm-hmm.
but in believability of people.
I just seen this old footage just last night, actually, of a sumo wrestler from like the 40s and 50s,
Mhm.
black and white footage. And so if you're really good at sumo wrestling and you're at the top of the charts or whatever, and when you retire, you have the opportunity to become like a coach, basically. So the coaches are on the sidelines, and they're the judges for the matches then, after, when you become that. So when he walked out in his robes, and there's old footage of him just walking beside the ring, go into his seat,
Mhm.
and he's just as tall as the guys inside the ring.
But he's on the
sweeping,
ground.
But
like
he's on the
lower.
ground, and he's got like the really big, oversized like eyebrow muscles, or you know what I'm talking about?
The heavy brow ridge,
Yeah,
right?
like what really big people, almost like when you see people even with like gigantism or something, they develop that just oversized. But yeah, it looked oversized. And they called him a giant. He looked like a giant. So I seen the video. He's huge. So I looked it up, how big he actually was. He was only 6'7.5" but
I mean, that's. Go on, sorry. It just
I say now modern times
6'7" is still.
Yeah. Well, back then, this was in the 40s when that video was, or 50s when that video was taken. So yeah, he looked like a actual giant, because everyone around him also was only like, we're in Japan here. Everyone around him was like,
I don't know what the average height for a Japanese
not
man
tall.
is. I know,
Especially
I don't
back.
want to be.
No. I'm
In
just
sense of I know they're not.
This is modern times too. I mean,
I'm
this
gonna
is
look
back
it
in the
up.
40s and 50s. The average height, I imagine, is even maybe shorter a little bit. But either way, the guys in the ring that were doing the cleaning and stuff, and that he was just as tall as had to be, just like over 5 foot, mid 5.
5'7" is right now the average height
Right
in
now,
Japan
yeah. So I
for
don't
a
know.
man, an adult man.
I don't know if it was even less, 75 years ago, but yeah, he looked like an actual giant.
I mean,
Even the way he walked, everything just looked unbelievable. But he's only 6'7", but it was awesome. And then I found some footage of him actually fighting and wrestling. Is pretty cool.
you actually found footage of that guy wrestling?
Yeah, I asked someone to send it, and someone did. They here's like there's like old footage from like decades ago, and
Yeah.
they'll play like certain matches and stuff. And he was in it. The guy's like, yeah, go to this video at 13 minutes 59 seconds, and then sure enough, there it was. It's pretty cool.
So before we cut to ad break, and we come back and kind of talk about some of this stuff and kind of break down the case. The junior anglers of Indian Lake, if you want to get your kids fishing, sign them up with that. The guys and gals that help it out with that are amazing. If you want to donate to them, there's also a link below for that. If you have fishing company or you have any kind of stuff outdoorsy that you think kids would really enjoy, I know that's a big part of it, is giving kids free gear and getting them out there. Me and Jay, like we already talked about, we did the ice fishing trip with them this year, like the safety course.
Mhm.
And all those kids got cleats, they got ice spikes, they got all the safety gear, and a couple of them got free fishing poles.
Yeah, when they won the ice crawl.
That was from me, but there was another group that did donate
Okay, cool.
a couple other poles to some kids.
Nice, yeah.
So, it's good. It's good to get kids out here.
Future anglers of Indian Lake.
Yeah, because if you don't get your kids in nature, they won't appreciate it. If they don't appreciate it, they won't protect it. If they don't protect it, nobody will.
Mm-hmm. That's
All
the
right.
truth.
Let's have an ad break, and we'll be right back. So, Jay, I just heard the Flavors of the Forest crew just did an expedition to the Lovelock Caves,
In Nevada?
home of the red-haired giants.
Oh, did they discover a red-headed giant?
Nope. They discovered something even better.
A ginger of another sort?
A ginger of another sort. Now coming out very soon. Flavors of the Forest, Bigfoot breath with ginger.
A ginger flavor to add to my food?
Yes, it's coming very soon. Be on the lookout for these new flavors. Helped developed by maybe the Nephilim, maybe the Mountain Milders. All we know is they had red hair and they're gingers.
And it's delicious. And you can find this flavor and the other flavors on flavorsforest.com/corn. Did I hear you say mound milders?
No, it's Mound Builders,
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
which we'll come to the mound. No, I wasn't joking with you earlier. I did not have that thought.
Mhm.
I was just so tired and so exhausted working on this. I'm like, I found a Mysterious Universe article where most of this came from, and then did some extra research. And I like I said, the Midwest Night Watcher sent it over, and it just seemed like a fascinating thing. So we'll talk about the validity. We'll talk about some cases of this. So in 1855, this was the Choctaw Nation area. This part of Oklahoma, Arkansas, the West was ran by the Choctaw, and it's like later on where the Trail of Tears comes in. This is where a lot of the eastern tribes were sent to also, which caused many, many, many problems
Okay.
because there was already people living there.
Huh.
And the government at the time was like, well, Native American's Native American. It
Huh.
was not.
Huh. Sounds familiar to the modern times.
It's governments. It's just government. It's what they do.
Yeah. Just displacing people.
Yeah.
Even though they've been there for generations and generations and generations.
But
and
Tuscalooma
generations.
is a pretty interesting place.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. In that whole area.
Have you've been there, right?
Mhm.
Like
I've
in
been to this area.
region,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been to actual Tuscalooma,
right.
but I've been to the Oklahoma, Arkansas, this corner of the country. It's a
Texarkana.
gorgeous corner of the country. You can really see how a powerful nation could really survive and thrive there.
Mhm.
It's very resource bountiful until you put everybody there. But you got to know how to use it, right?
Right. There's balance.
If you're from the Appalachian Mountains, you may not be able to survive the sloughs.
Ooh,
It's a very different environment.
that's right.
So let's talk about the warriors and the tribe and the people. So this happened supposedly over a couple years.
Okay. So it wasn't like a
These-
one weekend
These
thing.
monsters were attacking. Keep in mind, there's no. I see this on some of the reports. People are like, "Well, why did it take so long for them to react? And how did this happen?" There's no postal service. There's no cell phones, no internet, nothing like that. I think we kind of forget that. I mean, even the Postal Service, right? Or news and stuff like that.
Pony Express.
I mean, yeah, to the Choctaw Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they were getting ready to be exterminated by the U.S. government.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But no, so I thought it was pretty fast for them to organize over a year, a posse and stuff like that, and get warriors together. And
Well, it must have it must have been a pretty serious situation.
what happened, and so it happened enough, like you're saying,
Yeah.
that it was serious enough, and it traveled through the whole nation to the
Fast.
leader.
Yeah.
So, that's serious. So Hamas Tubi is real. You can find him and his 6 sons. You can find reports of them. You can find historical accounts of them.
Mm-hmm.
They were real people. They were very large people. I don't have an actual height estimate on them, but some of the stuff I looked up about them just said they were extremely large men.
That's pretty interesting.
So in my head, I don't think the 7 foot tall thing, I think that could be embellishment. But I mean, maybe not. I mean,
yeah, maybe not. You
how
never know.
TJ's, what is he? He's 6'5", 6'6", maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
And then I know his son is taller than him.
Okay.
So his son's maybe, 6'8". That's basically 7 foot tall, especially if you're not.
Right.
If you're not that tall.
Right.
Because I know they tower over me.
Absolutely.
And it's only what? I mean, really, it's only 8 or 9 inches taller than me, but we talk about that with scaling. The taller you get, the more massive your frame also gets. It has to. So they're just big people. And LaFleur was also LaFleur, however you say it, was an extremely famous Choctaw general.
Okay.
Tons and tons of historical accounts all up and down. You can
He
find.
definitely existed.
And he definitely died in 1855.
Okay.
So his death date matches the story. Do you have any thoughts or questions in this part?
Well, I'm just going to say if the story is made up and fake, I mean, that's easy details to... It's
Sure.
someone that's telling the
You
story.
can look this up. You can find all that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, Tubi and LaFleur were very famous also in this. If you want to look up this part of the country,
Right.
and this tribe,
Right.
So
I'm not immediately thinking it's like false or anything, but I'm just right.
just saying that these are things to think about when we're talking about the validity of any story.
Absolutely, yeah.
That these, unlike a lot of the stories we talk about, these are real places that I can find
with real people
that did exist and death dates that match.
Yep, that are accurate, have been corroborated.
Yeah, I mean, for anything from the 1800s, that's pretty good.
It is, yeah.
And there's even a couple journal entries and stuff like that, or historical remarks about these bandits, or a bandit, maybe not the giant ape monsters, but problems happening inside the Choctaw Nation with robbing and stuff like that. But that happened with a lot of the major tribes in the 1800s.
Okay.
Like we already said, tribes getting pushed against their borders, from the expanding U.S. government at the time, and settlers coming out west further and stuff like that.
Continuing to push the natives.
Yeah. And
further
so,
and
I mean, we
further.
talked about that when the Uinta Basin season finale with the Utes and the Navajo. It's kind of these two groups that had a lot of peace for a long time getting shoved into each other on both sides. And so the fighting occurs.
Right, yeah.
When borders aren't respected, fighting occurs. Whether it's your fault that the borders aren't respected or not, is kind of out, nobody's thinking about that.
Neither here or there.
Yeah. But fully armed, I mean, this has kind of that, I wouldn't say cartoony, but that war party look from like not that little prairie, but some of the Western movies, right?
Okay.
Where the war party comes up over the hill and stuff like that.
Oh, yes, okay. Gotcha.
Which the
And
Choctaw were amazing horse riders.
And then there's a standstill showdown where they just
They
stare
just
at each
watch
other.
Yeah. Because they're going to win.
Right.
So just
Or
a
so
lot
they-
of that stuff.
Till their horse gets backhanded
Well,
and their
we'll get
head
to
gets
that.
ripped off.
So what do you think of this part of the story so far? Everything from the chief, the generals, the Choctaw Nation, just the history and the locations with it.
No, I think it's very, very, very interesting. I want to believe this is real because this is one heck of a piece of history.
A lot of kids died.
Oh gosh. Is that documented?
No, okay. Well, let's wait for that, if you
Okay.
wouldn't mind,
Okay.
because we'll get to that. Because this is not. I mean, big cities didn't have accurate birth death records, unless you were famous,
Right.
like the LaFleur. He was very.
Cheap cornstalk.
Gosh, well, they did that. It's easy to have a death record when you're the one that does it.
That's true too.
Yeah, I shot him in the head, so I can write that down.
Right, yeah.
He died on this day. I was there.
I seen it happen.
I did it.
It was me.
So the McCurtain County Wilderness area is huge. It's awesome. It's still super Bigfooty to this day. In modern day Oklahoma. But yeah, the Clover River is a real place. 14-hour journey. I mean, horseback, that probably makes sense. I did not look into that. I just assumed. But yeah, crude telescope. It was a fun picture.
What's that?
Him had like flare like peeking out of his
telescope, looking at the and that just reminded me too of like modern day when guys are looking at through their scope in the rifle.
Yeah,
that's
seeing these Bigfoot and stuff like that, and they're just looking back at you.
Right. Yeah, and that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean they know it. They know you're looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
If these are even Bigfoot.
Bum bum bum.
Oh gosh, man, I'm really losing. I'm fighting everybody at home to keep talking, but it's hard.
You can do it.
Yeah, but this smell. So instantly. So let's talk about this. So 36-ish horseback riders hit this wall of smell where the horses absolutely lose their mind. Only a couple of the people could keep their horses going, and that is an interesting thing that is true about horses. The deeper your bond goes with a horse, the more you can get them to do outside of what they are willing to do.
Huh.
So that's why all these people talk. If you watch any Western movies, they talk about a good horse is worth 10 men.
Okay.
Because if you have a good horse, and you have a horse that trusts you and you trust,
yep,
it will go outside of anything it wants to do, like standing up against a bear, not taking off, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to think. So you ever seen people have to like brand and tag cows with the horses?
Okay. Oh yeah.
And the horse,
Gets
a
in
good
between.
horse, will stand between the mom and the calf.
Yep. I think
keep its body.
We just talked about this recently. I feel like
I probably
like the farmer. There was a farmer that had a cow that was kind of like eyeballing him.
No, that's Rufus, and another cow came in and saved him.
Okay. Well, then I just seen another.
He used a second bull.
Oh, you're right. He called in the other bull. I just watched something recently too of a horse standing in between it was a bull kind of coming around.
They're trained to do it.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a horse that trusts you and you trust it, they will do that for you. Most horses will not because you don't. It takes horses live to be in their 30s. It takes a decade.
Time.
It takes a decade to build
bonding.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horses can form extremely strong bonds, but it takes a long time and a lot of trust to do that. So it just was interesting to me that it seems the most apt horseback riders were the ones able to push through it when maybe the other ones weren't.
Gotcha.
Because it was Tooby and a couple of his sons and LaFleur, which LaFleur, from at least these reports and talking about it, was the most advanced horseback rider in the group. So he was the one that got his horse didn't even question, like really. He got his horse back under control, and then the horse just kept going. What?
Horse should have stopped.
Well, I mean,
his horse should have stopped.
It did die immediately, seconds.
Yeah.
So they hit this wall of smell, this decay, this panic. What do you think about that?
I think you nailed it with what the smell was.
I cheated.
Okay.
Because I knew.
Yeah, well, I think you were right. It's dead bodies.
Well, I mean, do you still think it was anything with the infrasound?
No, when you have that, a mound of dead corpses, actively decomposing.
I want to make sure you understand the mound itself, which we'll talk about, was not the dead bodies. There was an earthenwork mound.
Right, and they were shoved into it.
Like a Twinkie with the filling.
Right, there you go. That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it. So they're the filling.
Yeah, all the rotting kids, yes.
Yes. So yeah, I'd imagine that's the smell. I don't care how bad Bigfoot smells.
Yeah, no, I do not think. I want to make that clear. I do not think it was Bigfoot. It was stinky.
Right. When you have a mound stuffed to the gills
full of rotting people, it will stink. It will be stinky.
Just a little bit.
And there was adults mixed in as well as some of the livestock that had gone missing. So it's just this big cooking pot of rotting mammal flesh.
Maybe they're using it as like a compost pile to heat their Bigfoot huts.
So you're pretty sure the smell was just the rotting corpses?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Just checking, because I've seen some places online kind of forget that there was a big pile of rotting people.
Yeah.
And really still go with that's the smell of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. Which maybe, could be both, but I haven't.
It could be.
It could be. But I'm still gonna use my logic and say that mass of rotting corpses is going to overpower.
If you're within a mile of a rotting cow, you know.
Shoot, yeah.
Even sometimes when you're upwind, so you shouldn't be able to smell it, it still will perforate close enough to the ground. You know there is
something dead.
A big
near.
rotting mammal.
Shoot.
And mammal has a really, really distinct smell.
Oh, yeah, it does.
At least for humans, because we're programmed that way.
Yeah.
Because that's where we can get diseases, and that's our predators, you know.
Even a dead tiny mouse, they stink.
For weeks.
Oh, but it's strong.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So they see these things. So the conflict, how it starts. There's these three massive, and I couldn't find anywhere that really gave a good size estimate of these three beasts.
Okay.
Just that it dwarfed Tubi and his kids.
Which, it's saying something. We're at Gigantopithecus height.
I don't know if they're 15 foot tall or 12 foot tall. I don't know. I kind of pictured the 8 to 10.
Let me ask you this. Would an 8-footer standing over a 7-footer, would you consider that dwarfing them?
Yeah, mostly because of the width as well.
Well, let me ask you
So
this.
I guess I consider, like, if TJ's kid stood behind me, he would dwarf me, even though he's only 8 inches taller than me. He's wider, and he's just all around like a bigger guy.
Oh, fair enough.
So an 8 foot or 9 foot Sasquatch-like creature, even though it's a foot or two taller than Tubi and his kids, it still would just, I mean, think about how wide Sasquatch is compared to a human.
That's true.
I mean, it's still going to dwarf, they're a wall of flesh and fur.
Just trying to imagine it in my head,
I didn't say, I like I said, I don't know if they're 15 feet tall.
I guess, what's the definition of dwarf when you're dwarfing? So it's gray.
Oh, so he sees, LaFleur sees these three creatures, and they don't even care about the war party. They're just cold and stone cold. Does that remind you of anything or make you think of anything?
It probably should. It sounds kind of familiar that they don't care. I don't know, like Skinwalker?
I mean, I could see Skinwalker, but there are some of these Bigfoot cases with some of these absolutely massive individuals that like you mentioned it earlier, see people with rifles and just do not care.
Right.
Because they know if you shoot me with that thing, I'm going to kill you long before you kill me.
Yeah.
And they're just, I don't know, to me, there just seems to be, that's a big follow through with some of these actually monster Sasquatch encounters. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, again, I still want to believe that this is real. So I don't know. Let's just keep digging into it a bit more before I make a final judgment. But
so LaFleur jumps up, starts running at him, takes his pistol and his saber out.
Right.
And I found an account where he did strike the Bigfoot with the saber, and that's what was profusely bleeding after he had shot the Bigfoot, 6 times with his pistol.
Okay.
And then the Mysterious Universe account where they retell it was he never struck him with the saber. He just shot him 6 times, and the bullet holes were profusely bleeding.
Yeah. I mean, either way, you're going to be bleeding a lot if either one of them happened.
Yeah. But then the Bigfoot not caring the whole time, like just taking it. Like he said, had no ifs, ands, or buts, just did not care, and then grabbed his head.
Gosh.
And just ripped it off. Oh, sorry, I missed it, that he slapped the horse. He backhanded a horse to death.
That's right, I forgot about that part.
Which horses do not have the will to live.
All horses?
Not all horses, but 99.7% of horses.
Why do you say that, I guess?
Oh, so for instance, they use the same chemical to put down horses and dogs, all right? If you got to euthanize an animal or a human, it's the same chemical. It takes 1/10 the amount to put down a 2,000-pound horse as it does to put down a 100-pound dog.
Wow.
Because dogs are maybe a poor example for this case because they really have the will to live. Dogs will put like cancer and broken legs and crawl around and stuff like that. Like
they'll keep going.
A dog will, a horse will not.
They're just done.
And I think it could be biological programming because of how lanky they're built.
Okay.
That like some of the other quadrupeds that like if they hurt their ankle, they're done. So what's the point of just hanging on for 3 weeks, starving to death?
Right. Yeah. They're just ready to go.
Yeah. So that's always been a joke, I guess, in the farm community is that horses don't have the will to live because any injury and stuff like that, they're
gonna
done.
die. Yeah.
There has been cases where they build like full apparatuses to get horses to heal an ankle,
Okay.
and it still doesn't work every time after spending $500,000.
I think I've seen that where they make like not false legs, but like
No, for the first 6 months, I got to be in a harness that lifts them off the ground so I can still move around the other 3 legs.
okay.
And then half the time when that situation happens, it's almost always racehorses, so they can keep breeding. Even like they're done racing forever.
Yeah.
But if they can get them healed, they don't have to artificially inseminate. They can get them to keep breeding. And then still some of them just don't have the will to continue after that. Like they'll just put their head down and just be like,
Checking out.
shoot me.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's their role though. Is
I mean, I
don't
do think
know.
it's environmental factors of just in nature, generally speaking, any injury to a horse
it's just
is
game
fatal.
over. Yeah.
So any injury, even though they didn't have to be fatal now. Anyways, so he slaps LaFleur's horse, LaFleur horse, whatever, and then just rips his head off. What do you think about that? Does that sound very Bigfooty?
Oh yeah, Portlock, Alaska, kind of sounding. It sounds like aggressive Bigfoot behavior.
Does it?
Like bad, yeah.
All right. And then he dies. Obviously, LaFleur dies. Then all the rest of the cavalry gets there, starts shooting these things with their rifles constantly. 2 of them run away. The one that I presume it's the one that was already previously injured.
It's the one that he jumped. Tubi jumped.
It's the one that dropped and started trying to crawl away.
Okay.
And Tubi's kid
Son jumped
on it and started trying to saw its head off, and then he did.
with a pocket knife.
Oh no, a hunting knife.
I know. I'm just joking.
I'm in picturing like Crocodile Dundee stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That big, like 18-inch, like
that's
Bowie
not a knife. This is a knife.
Just holding it by the ponytail, sawing at it.
Well, do you think it was a stone knife or a metal?
I think it was metal.
Okay.
It didn't have to be metal. I guess it could be any of their workings. I don't know much about the Choctaw tribe
Me
and
either.
what they made.
And I didn't know what they had access to in the 18. What was it?
There was heavy trade with the settled world.
Right.
I don't know what else to call it. The government of the United States at that time.
Right.
There was heavy trade with settlers and stuff like that, or pioneers, or whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
So that's the same way they got all the guns.
What's that?
The Choctaw. That's how they trading or
Oh, okay.
or fighting.
Understood.
They acquired enough
Weapons.
rifles.
Yeah, rifles and.
So I think it would be much easier to get a hunting knife than it would be a rifle.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know that for sure though. So yeah. So he jumps on his head, or jumps on him, cuts off his head, and the other 2 run away. That's kind of the end of the skirmish. Let's talk about the mound.
Okay.
The mound's, I think, the weirdest part of this story.
A little bit.
Like, it's not a cave. They made it a very big point to make sure it's illustrated as an earthen mound that had a hole in it that the bodies were being stored in or shoved in.
Was the hole from the top down, or where was that in the mound?
So keep in mind, 1855.
They don't say.
We've lost some stuff. I've seen depictions of this, researching this, where I kind of made the joke about a Twinkie or like a cream-filled donut.
Yeah.
That's most of the time what I see depictions as it's an giant earthwork with a hole in one end, and then bodies are being stored in there.
Okay.
I've also seen it where it's more like a volcano shape, like it's a pit. They're throwing them all in.
So it's wherever the artist's description.
Kind of the earthen mound. You much more think of that classical longer shape,
Okay.
like a donut. So what do you think about that? I mean, you said some things, but what do you really think about that?
Well, I just thought maybe at first, if this isn't a Bigfoot, but if it's really happened, it's something else. Maybe it is the fairy mound, and that's why they're so aggressive, because they were closing in on it.
I really did not have the fairy mound down at all, which is interesting.
But I don't know why they'd stuff it full of human flesh.
So we can talk about the Bigfoot fairy connection.
Okay.
This could be everything from, we've talked about the Bigfoot fae becoming extremely aggressive towards humans, especially with caves and mounds and stuff like you're saying, to where, remember the one from Wisconsin had people that had gone missing on their property near their mound. And
I think I remember, but.
And they had Bigfoot, they had themselves had a Bigfoot activity near that mound. And that their father had always said, just like had to talk to the clouds that were like giant fly clouds.
Okay.
until we'll clean up when we leave. Remember, we'll clean up in the morning. We promise we'll clean up in the morning because they left the campsite dirty.
I feel like, yeah, I remember.
It was from, I'm drawing a blank now. Wisconsin. They had the ant mound on them.
Cheese caves.
Yeah, the cheese caves.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it's in
Anyways.
Illinois, anyways.
Yeah, I think it is Illinois, Indiana, something like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about that connection, but the giant mass of flies
Yeah.
kind of makes me think Fae now too, or demonic.
Definitely. Well,
But it could also be the
Yeah,
hundreds of rotting
I
corpses
was
in
just
a
going to
hole.
say that, yeah, because you get, if you get a bunch of flies, you get, and you said they were already half decomposed.
Yeah, some of them were, yeah.
There could be millions in there.
Sure.
Like, easily. I've seen, like, thousands of maggots. I remember being a kid. Not as much as recently, now that I think about it.
All the insects are dead.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy now that I think about it. But I remember, this is kind of gross, viewer discretion advised, but being a little kid, I remember 1 year we had rats in the back of our barn.
Really?
Yeah, it was 1 year. And there was
I haven't seen a rat in forever.
me either. And even as a kid, I hardly ever saw them. But I remember this 1 year we had rats in our barn, and they were big. And I remember Dad getting these rat traps out, and I remember he caught 3 of them in one trap.
Gosh.
3 monsters, and it snapped them and killed them. But I remember I found the trap as a little kid, and found it with the 3 in it, and I'm like, oh, gross, Dad, look. And I think I kicked it with my foot and flipped it over. And when they flipped over, that's when I seen the gross, like they were just thousands of maggots. Oh, it was gross.
I have to give a warning on this one.
Well, I did. I said viewer discretion
I
advised.
meant in the title or
Oh,
something.
okay. Oh, it was disgusting. But I was like, whoop, it like ran away immediately. But like, so I can't imagine, that might explain the flies.
Tube full of humans.
Yeah, a tube full of humans.
So why would they be doing that for the? Is it just that somehow that the locals had angered them, and they're just killing?
I mean, could be.
Is it like you said in Portlock? Maybe, and nothing to do with the people that end up fighting the Bigfoot. But what if a local that end up shooting a kid Bigfoot or something?
And this is retaliation.
Yeah, I mean, like you brought up Portlock, which I'm glad you did, because there is some similarities to Portlock.
Like an eye for an eye kind of situation.
Yeah, even Ape Canyon, what happens is they go nuts. If you take a pot shot or kill a baby Bigfoot or a young Bigfoot,
Yeah.
the adults go nuts. So this may be one of the few examples we have where the people couldn't leave.
Hmm.
So that's why it got to maybe this level of death and destruction.
And who knows if someone took out a kid or something. But with Native Americans, I don't know. They
I
seem
didn't
to
even say it was a Native American doing it.
Right.
They're the guys that live there.
Yeah.
So it could have been pioneers or settlers or whatever going through their territory.
I still feel like the Bigfoot would know.
I don't know if they would care at that point. People are people. Because they started doing that. That's why they stopped talking to the Native Americans. They stopped doing the powwows with Native Americans.
I guess. But that was, I don't know. Who knows why?
There's stories or individuals I tried. It could be one of the tribe members, though, shooting at one, scaring it away if it's getting into their vegetable patch. And stuff. Like they said, that's how it started. Is the stealing of vegetables.
Right.
And then livestock, and then people.
Mm-hmm.
So what if there was just one getting in somebody's vegetable patch and somebody had shot it, looking out there, or it was end up one of the babies.
And then it just realized, I can just eat these things, people.
I'm still saying maybe killed one of the offspring.
Right, yeah, no, that'd be
and
bad.
then the parents find just the dead body, and it's not great.
No, I'd go a little angry.
Yeah. I don't know, because they couldn't leave. The Fae, could just be, you could even go the demonic angle. Shoving all these corpses into a hole almost sounds like some kind of ritual or some kind of appeasement.
That's what I was going to say. Or not ritual, not appeasement.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, basically like on the altar, like an altar kind of thing. Like you're, I guess sacrificing or just giving your offering. It's an offering. That's his offering plate. Ooh. Yeah, I don't want to be a Bigfoot offering.
And these may not even been Bigfoots.
No, that's the whole thing. It could be something else completely.
You kind of said the one earlier, and I went past it, so I think it may be.
What did I say? I don't even remember now.
Skinwalkers.
Oh, Skinwalker.
Skinwalkers deal
situation.
all kinds of torture and death of kids for powers and rituals and stuff like that. So what if these were 3 skinwalkers in their bestial forms.
Or what if it wasn't even 3? What if it was just
The one,
One.
mimic, like just one guy. What do you think? These are homunculi, or these are him projecting as 3 things?
projecting, or if he can just
Him, her, they.
split into
3 things
3
at the
things,
same
yeah.
time.
because things come in trios. Like that's
To
like
mock the Holy Trinity.
yeah, exactly.
A lot of demonic stuff mocks the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, I mean everything because you got the binary in life where everything's either black or white. It's I'm speaking in what's the words? Hyperbole, I guess.
Yeah,
But that's in the binary system, black and white. And then when it comes to 3, then you got an option. Things can either be this, that, or a third other, and they all got balance, like rock, paper, scissors. There's balance. I don't know.
well, I could see skinwalkery stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff happening. Do you have any other thoughts or what it could be, or any other things that stuck out in your mind?
Well, either a Bigfoot or skinwalker, or if I'm kind of sticking with the Fae mound, if that's what it could be, maybe it could be Fae type or demonic beings that are taking that shape or form. And did they mention the eyes?
No.
Dang, that would have been.
I mean, they may have. We'll talk. That's the last thing I want to end on.
Okay, and now had they mentioned red eyes?
1855.
Yeah, right. It lost a lot of details. Lost.
At best, this is a story that was written down from somebody else writing it out, from somebody else writing it down, from somebody else writing it down.
From somebody else telling them, from somebody else telling them, and somebody else telling them. Yeah. So I get it. Things can be lost. But it had that detail stuck in there.
Sure.
That would lead me to believe it's
Demonic.
more demonic.
Demonic would be easy then.
Or, demonic, fairy.
Shoving bodies of kids in a hole
Yeah.
and having glowing red eyes. That's not a hard one.
A beast. Just a beast. Maybe this is what the Grafton Monster was really
I was going to
like.
say hodags.
Yeah, hodags.
This is actually 3 hodags.
Oh, gosh. Don't get me started.
No, so I guess the final thing is, do you think this was real? Do you think this happened? Or what % would you give it?
78%
Fake or real?
real.
Why?
Because with the figures, there were real figures
Well,
involved.
like you said yourself, is that they were very known people.
So, yeah.
It's not like this is some obscure guy that you would have to look up to even prove was real.
Okay. Here, wait, then let's start over. 78%.
What'd you say originally? I don't know.
78. But
Okay.
No, you got to ask me why again.
Why?
Just because that's how I feel.
Yeah, good.
That's why. I just want to believe, okay?
That's fine. I'm just saying you brought you to bring up good points though,
I know.
because like LaFleur and Tooby were both well-known figures
Right, yeah.
in the Choctaw Nation at the time.
I really want to know, like, if his sons were actually that tall.
Like what? How tall? 7 foot?
Like 7-footers. Even
People get 7 foot. I mean,
Right.
7 foot is extremely tall for a human, but it's
But across the board, like if his sons were, relatively around that height, all the way across, there's genetics involved at that point.
yeah. At least one of his sons was bigger than him.
So-
But they were all giant men.
So where do those genetics come from?
Oh, yeah, the
And-
Nephilim.
And then, right, that's what I'm saying. Just going back with giants, I mean, if the tribes were, if the Native Americans had giants with them, amongst them, it just seems like they were all around the world. They were here forever, giants. And now it were just to modern times is when they've been gone. And that's when they're telling us they never existed. But yeah, all these old stories, it was just commonplace.
I'm gonna go. I'm pretty sure this is not real, at least in the full retelling. I think there could be truth to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be a story based on a true story,
Mhm.
and stuff has been changed or altered or messed up. Because, like I said, there is a little bit of corroboration with some of the figures and some of the dates and missing kids. Oh, that's one thing. Yeah, I said we'd talk about again. No, I have no proof of any of the missing kids besides a couple journal entries that people point back to
Okay.
from like this basically a village inside the Choctaw Nation had a kid or two go missing,
Okay.
kind of deal.
But we didn't have like a missing child.
No, keep
There's
in mind,
no milk cartons back in
this
those
is
days.
this is the Choctaw Nation.
Not the
and then the U.S. government hadn't at the time in 1855. They had no idea who was dying unless you had wealth.
Like it being a native?
No.
Oh, everybody in general.
As a white person in the American government in 1855,
Yeah.
they did not keep the best death record. And I know they did keep death records. They did keep death records, but they had very poor death records and very poor birth records. So, like I said, if you weren't a contributing member to that government or society,
They didn't care.
it fell through often because there's no money. Like just taxation was really the only reason they were keeping that hard of tabs on anybody. So if you were poor,
Just as they are now.
gosh, well, now they print a second birth certificate every time. Anyway, it's a whole thing.
And then clone you. Oh, wait, that's just the famous celebrities. Sorry.
They sign up for that. It's in your contract. It's one of the record deals. You just got to read the fine print. It's
Yeah.
like 0.05
After
font.
they brainwash them to sign it.
Well, no, that's part of signing it.
Oh, true. Yeah.
You don't. The brainwash doesn't happen until after you sign it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, no. I don't.
Ariana Grande just talked about the memory forgetting therapy.
I just seen that.
Good for her. But no, so I could see, like I said, the deaths of these kids, the missing parts, these like the missing persons or anything like. There's no proof, but I guess I'm saying is there's no reason there to be proof, unless I guess it was like a lot of kids, and maybe some of the sellers' kids went missing too, and then they could connect it back. Then there would be reports.
Let's just go find that mound. We'll find teeth in there.
I don't want to find that mound.
Why?
I'm pretty sure if it does exist, it's an extremely evil place.
This was 170 years ago.
Yeah, demons don't age, I don't think.
I mean, after 150 years, they age a little bit.
I don't think
They
so.
move at least.
They move.
Yeah, they're nomadic.
No, they just keep walking in circles out there until they have somebody else to rip apart,
Well,
slap it to somebody else's horse.
we just got just don't ride your horse out there. Let's see him slap my Ford F-150 there. Yeah, it's got dual gas tanks there. You want to hit
Ford
my
F-150 with dual gas tanks.
I do, yeah. That's what we're going to take down to Arkansas.
It-
See, it's perfect.
There you go. No, I think this is, at least in its current retelling, a fake story.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, then I'm going to lean towards, like you said, its origins are real.
there may have been a real event that happened to inspire this,
Mhm.
and then it's been embellished, or extras were added, or facts and things were changing. Maybe it was the Navajo Nation, not the Choctaw Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, there's all kinds of things that could be different. All I know is the two guys from the beginning are real, and the one guy did die in 1855.
Facts. Those are facts.
So let us know what you think below. If you're listening on Spotify, you can comment and just tell us what you think of the episode.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Bigfoot War?
No, and I'm glad they told me, because I guess it's more talked about in some of these Bigfoot cases. There are in modern day, there are many different retellings of this story.
Uh-huh.
I won't name out any groups, but looking up for the episode, like researching and stuff like that, I will say, if your group is a paranormal Sasquatch group, there is definitely a paranormal Sasquatch version of this story. And if your group is a flesh and blood Bigfoot group, there is definitely a flesh and blood version of this story. So
it's
I
been
went with
changing.
Mysterious Universe mostly because it seemed to be pretty down the middle.
Yeah.
But you can find a heavily leaning story either way, which is like most of this stuff.
That fits how you believe about Bigfoot, I guess.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
A tale as old as time.
Song as old as rhyme. Is that what they say?
Beauty and the Beast.
See. Thule. What was his name? The Thule? The name of the
Tubi.
Tubi. Like the streaming service. He's beauty.
It is not spelled that way, but I did not realize it sounded like that until you just said that out.
Me either until just now. So get on Tubi.
Yeah.
Go watch the Battle with Bigfoot on Tubi.
I said because I thought this was going to be a shorter episode.
Is that what this episode was about?
Yeah, the Battle of Tubi.
The Battle of Bigfoot on Tubi.
There we
Featured
go.
on Tubi, yeah.
All right, I have been the Great and Powerful Mystery.
And I've been JClone78.
We'll catch you next week, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids the Corn podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the Jade clones
and more from Mr. E,
there's always extra content on Patreon
and our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.